I'm going to do an insight video today. I've been talking a lot about vibration and frequency, especially over the last few days. This is a really important aspect of spiritual growth and development and awareness, that everything is vibration, everything is frequency. And with the universal laws, again, you've got this sense of the universal law of oneness. Everything is born and everything is created from oneness, and everything returns and remains as one. So there's no separation, there's no distance, there's no any kind of sense of, like with the oneness, it's you're always connected, you're always open, you always have the ability to be aware and receive, because this divine source, this divine essence is always around us. It is ever vibrating, it's ever illuminating, it's ever sort of giving us this kind of insight, it's giving us awareness, it's giving us information, it's giving us insight that we can shift and change things. And this is again connects to the universal law of transmutation and transformation. It connects to Saint Germain, where we very much sort of like are shifting and changing, and we are really sort of like moving through this process at the moment, moving through this process of understanding, insight, awareness, and we're going through it, we're shifting and changing. And this is what's happening with the new energy that's coming down. It's very much around vibration and frequency, which it has always been, but we're becoming much more conscious as the collective of this. And this is the universal law of oneness, is that all things are always connected, all worlds, all dimensions, all realities, all realms. Nothing is separate. So you are never disconnected. That's the first thing, because I think it's really important to remember that, because at times we are in our lives and we are going through our own spiritual path and we feel things are happening, and maybe we feel we're not disconnected, but we feel that way. We maybe feel like that there's things happening around us in the external world. And again, this is that time when I've been talking about the eternal self, which is this infinite self that is always connected, that is never separate, that works in the present moment, and it works with creation in that moment, and it works with vibration and frequency. The eternal self knows that the ever sort of like the vibration and the frequency of energy and light are always there. And the eternal self also knows that everything is like transient. Nothing is sort of, nothing is nothing is set in stone. Nothing is set that way. The sort of the eternal self knows that any time it can shift and change, and it has done, and it knows everything is vibration and frequency. Everything is the eternal moment. Everything is the eternal moment. And that's what I want to talk about, the eternal moment, because this is the understanding that everything is just vibrating. It is energy and light. And in that eternal moment, when we shift and change our consciousness and our vibration and our frequency, we shift and change reality. And this is what the eternal self tells us. It tells us that we can shift and change anything at any time, because the eternal moment is there. And the eternal moment is this constant flow of energy and vibrations and frequencies and light that we all are part of, we all harness, and we can all sort of in that moment we can sort of shift and change reality in that eternal moment, that we are forever creating and manifesting with the flow of the universe, the flow of the source energy. And each and every one of us has the ability to do this. And when we start to awaken to that, we know that nothing is set in stone, nothing is determined. Everything can be shifted and changed. Now, that's true on an individual level, but on the greater scheme and the greater design of the flow, the greater design of the universe, there's a greater design, there's a greater picture, there's a bigger picture that's unfolding, a collective picture. And each and every master and each and every angel and each and every guide and teacher are all aware of this greater design, and they're working with us. They're working with us with opening up the energy. And again, people like the Ascended Master of Serapis Bay, which is portals and opening up sort of back to ascension, back to oneness, which is oneness is such an important awareness, spiritual awareness, and being very conscious of that. That this vibration is open to each and every one of us. That none of us is disconnected. Everybody, every single one of us are connected, and we're connected because we're all part of the same whole. We're all part of this infinite sort of one vibration, and this is all spiritual realities, all spiritual dimensions. And it's really, really important that we remain aware of this, because it's liberating. It allows us to shift. It allows us to change. It allows us to know that we're not alone, and that we're being guided. That we can be open as channels at any moment, at any time. And again, this is the eternal moment, and part of the eternal self is the awareness that the eternal moment can be sort of, you can create and manifest anything in that time. It's like the unlimited possibilities, and we all have the ability to do that. So it's sort of like the understanding and the awareness of that we can start to move energy and move energy within our own lives, within our own reality, and consciously change reality in that way. And again, this connects to the universal law of correspondence, which is very much around the understanding that we are this light and this energy in ourselves, which again, this is the eternal self, that we have this energy, this light, this vibration, this frequency. And when we activate this frequency and these vibrations, these energies, it shifts and changes our consciousness, which shifts and changes our reality. And we can do that. And the universal law of correspondence tells us that. It tells us that we are this light, this energy, and the external reality can be shifted and changed, and it can be created and manifested into something different. Now, this can happen on a small level for each and every one of us. So it could be a change of thoughts, a change of perspective, a change of how we approach something. But that is still part of that universal shift. That's about that changing again. That's about that sort of like the understanding and the awareness. Is with spiritual reality, everything is connected. Even the small things that each and every one of us maybe take for granted are sort of insights and awareness that are actually helping to shift and change our reality. Yesterday or the day before, I talked about like Monday. I woke up Monday. I did a reading, and I felt like the master had connected to me, and I felt like this insight and this sort of like insight and awareness had come through, and I felt really alive and vibrant. And I feel like that again today. There's a vibrancy to this new energy that's coming through, like a real aliveness, and it's a very bright light energy. But on Monday I sort of woke up, and I was having sort of like a really good day before I started work, and then like I went to work, and then all these things went bang 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 bang, and it was like I was constantly bombarded with all these kind of things that become quite heavy, because there was lots of sort of like things that were going on that was like stressful, and they had an impact. But they were also an opportunity. They were an opportunity to learn. And that's the thing, when you sort of when things come up, they're an opportunity to learn and integrate something, but they're also a time to shift and release things as well. So as the week's gone on, from Monday, now we're on Thursday, Friday, I've really sort of like, from Thursday to Friday, I've really sort of like, that whole energy, vibration and frequency from the beginning of the week to the end of the week is shifted and changed, and it's changed completely. And again, it's sort of like, this is what goes on sometimes in our spiritual evolution. And again, with the universal law of rhythm and growth and cycles, the growth and cycles are connected individually, but also to the greater sort of collectively as well. Nothing is sort of like on its own. And again, this is another thing, when you become more sort of connected with like your infinite self or your internal self, and you get more connected to being more aware as a spiritual being, you see that there's design in everything. There's like a design. And when I say design, I'm not trying to sort of like talk about like an infinite design. I don't mean it in that way. I mean, what I might mean by design, I mean that there's like intelligence. There's consciousness. There's spiritual consciousness and intelligence in every moment, in every second. And when you start to realize that, This is where you start to become open, and this is where you become this open channel where you start to receive information and insight in every second of every moment. Again, this is the eternal moment. This is the eternal self coming online, and this is the eternal moment, realizing that in that eternal moment. And time is just, you know, we look at time and we look at the time and the years and stuff like that, but if you really look at presence and you look at the eternal moment, there is just one moment, there's just one frequency, one vibration that's ever evolving, ever vibrating, and in that moment, at any time. I mean, I have these experiences all the time. You know, something heavy's happening in your life, and in a second it's changed. It's absolutely changed into something different. So you go from one moment of maybe something's happening that's impacted you to create anxiety or stress, and then the next moment you feel liberated and you feel open, and that's because that's the eternal moment. And the eternal moment is full of those kind of flowing way. But again, that's to do with your consciousness, that's to do with you. And again, it's like when we don't hold on to things and we release them, then we become more able to be more open to receive. And this is what this time's about, and the eternal moment is about that. And and this eternal self is about that. It's about knowing that nothing is sort of set in stone. Nothing is, we can shift and change things. And like I said, nothing is set in stone. I'm talking on an individual level. Each and every one of us, in that eternal moment when we become aware of our eternal self, become a co-creator. We become a creator of life. We become connected to manifestation and creation in our own sort of our own sort of reality. And in that state, we start to realize that we can shift and change, and that's the power of transformation and transmutation, that we go from different states of consciousness and different states of being. And being is being aligned, is being in spiritual reality, and it's being sort of integrating spiritual reality and being present again in that eternal moment. The eternal moment is really, really important. I have moments in my life where I have real clarity, and I feel like I'm just this light and this energy. And when I'm in that light and energy, I'm secure. I feel like I'm just in this eternal moment of expression, of creation and vibration and frequency. It's only when I sort of like come out of that state. But this time is about creating those states where we're more receptive to receiving that flow, and opening up to the energy and the vibrations of the frequencies that we can start to create and manifest. And like I said, it happens on an individual level, but there's also, we are being guided by the universal teachers, the ascended masters, the angels, to actually sort of like open up and receive these, and integrate and vibrate and live in a different way. And this is what this time's about, and this is what this new age is about. These new vibrations, these new frequencies, they're bringing us back to alignment and harmony, and back into this kind of eternal moment, so that we start to see, and from that moment what we can do is we can co-create. We create more spiritual reality within our own lives, and that then vibrates, and it goes out and it creates a frequency on the planet, and then the planet aligns with that. Each and every one of us that are awake, and each and every one of us that becomes aware, we sort of become these beacons of light. We become these spiritual beings of vibration and frequency, and every single one of our frequencies then aligns with the planet, and then it aligns the planet to allow the planet to become more spiritually aligned and in harmony with the infinite realms and the infinite realities and the infinite sort of dimensions of spiritual dimensions. And it's sort of like, and this is again this infinite flow and this infinite sort of expansion of awareness, consciousness, of light and energy on the planet, but it also then goes out into the universe, and then this is what brings us back into alignment. And this is again what happened again when I talk about different spiritual cultures. When people talk about Atlantis and they talk about Lemuria, they were aligned, they were in harmony. They all knew this about like this eternal self and this eternal moment, and they lived in it. And when they were living in it, they were always connected. You're always connected, but you always felt like you were consciously connected to that source energy, that source flow of the universe, and this is the place where when we feel like that, we're open to receive and also connect to the universal teachers, the angels, the guides, the so that we can then once again become aligned. And this is the purpose in each and every one of us of why we've come here. And this is why I share these insights, because through my own journey I connect to others, and through my own journey I create a vibration and a frequency within my own sort of energy that then sort of connects to the planet, and it connects to all of us, because we're all part of that vibration, that frequency. And the more we connect in that way, the more we start to align and anchor these new vibrational frequencies that are being given to us by the masters, by the universal teachers, by the angels. And they're all part of coming back to that source energy and living in a more spiritual reality, in a more spiritual way. That's the insight for today.